Welcome everybody to our The Suicide Squad spoiler review. Of course, if you haven't seen the film, we are going to be talking about this open and freely.
Yep.
And get into this James Gunn soft reboot, pseudo sequel to 2016 Suicide Squad, Rick. Now, we went and saw it yesterday at cinema. We've already had a look. Now, we wanted the opportunity to watch it a couple of times. So we've done that. We've seen it twice.
Yeah.
So let's just have your thoughts. And Rick, I think I'm going to open it up to you straight away. Normally with reviews, you kind of leave your rating right to the end. We're not going to do that now. We're going to just tell you exactly how we rate this film straight off the bat. And Rick, what did you think of the Suicide Squad?
Mate, guys, I'm going to give this straight off the bat. I'm going to give this 4 VHS cassette tapes.
Out of 5.
Out of 5. That's our rating system, guys. So I'm going for 4. Like Jay said, we actually saw this twice.
Yep.
And yeah, I've got so much to talk about this movie. It's so good.
Rick, my rating for this one is absolutely on par with you. 4 out of 5 video cassettes.
Yeah.
This film, look, it's a great film. It's an enjoyable film. It's one of those unique comic book movies that, in the world of the Marvel and the MCU and everything, we have a certain formula. And this is wonderfully refreshing because it goes off formula and it is its own individual thing.
I mean, I can see, and you can see the creativity, freedom that James Gunn had in this versus what he had with Marvel. You know, he was a little bit restricted with Disney, but here he had open slather, and it worked, and it was so, like Jay said, enjoyable. This movie is an enjoyable movie.
Look, it's just so unique in the way it goes about it. I mean, there's nothing original in this film, Rick, but what it is, it's just done with this sense of fun and imagination, and I love movies that just get on with it straight away. And this movie, within 2 minutes in this movie, we're on the mission.
Yep.
I mean, this movie opens with the mission. So it was just, had this really fast energy about it. And I just loved all the way through it, It just didn't stop for me. And what a cast of characters, Rick.
Huge cast of characters.
Yeah. And part of the marketing for this film was to say, look, people are going to die. And they do without question.
Rapidly die.
Before we kind of get into some of that, let's just go over this amazing cast. And some are coming back from 2016's Suicide Squad to be in this film. And then we have a whole new cast of new characters. Is this a DCEU movie, Rick? Would you say this is part of the DCEU?
Sort of.
It is.
Sort of.
It's kind of. But anyway, let's go. And obviously, Margot Robbie returns as Harley Quinn.
Amazing.
And she has really made that role her own now. What is this, the 3rd time that we've seen her, and she just really does a great job. And hopefully we get to see a bit more Harley Quinn. She did come out recently, Margot Robbie, and says, we don't know when we'll get to see her again, but she was wonderful in this film. It was really great to see a Margot Robbie who was not bound by the relationship of Mr. J.
Yeah.
She's kind of gotten over that.
You can see
she's a free spirit now. She's like independent, and she's wonderful. To me, one of the great standouts of this film, and there are a lot in this, but Idris Elba, he was really great in this movie.
He was.
I sometimes a little bit critical about him because I feel he plays one note, but I just really love the character performance he brought to Bloodsport.
Yes. And he had good chemistry with one of the other characters, which we'll talk about, and it just played well on screen.
Yes. Let's talk about it right now. You're talking about John Cena, who is a big surprise in this movie.
Huge
John Cena, I mean, we all make fun of him. We all think, he's
that
guy, he's a wrestling guy, you can't see me.
Can't act but
I tell you what, recently over the last few years, you've seen his acting chops get better and better and better.
He's had that comedic side to him.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's really digging into the comedic side. And I think it's really smart because he is funny as hell in this movie. He's really good. And you're right, the chemistry between Bloodsport and Peacemaker really keeps this movie, just moving even faster than it is with the editing style and that, based upon those quips that they're having. very reminds you of a very buddy cop type
Because
of relationship.
Those two are very similar with the skill set that
Their
they can
backgrounds.
do, the backgrounds and everything, and they play that out within the movie.
Yeah.
And then and that's what makes it work so well.
Yeah. Another great surprise of this movie was Joel Kinnaman returning as Colonel Rick Flag. Now, I literally didn't think much of him as a character in the original Suicide Squad. I thought he was very flat, one note, didn't really. But here he gets so much more to work with, and he just really stands out as a
leader.
Yeah, as a leader, as someone who's kind of got the tone of what the movie is. Because the movie is very wacky in its way. It's a heightened reality. It's not supposed to be the real world, and he just slips into that kind of James Gunn universe so well. Michael Rooker coming in as Savant.
I know.
Always great to see Michael Rooker. He's got to be
good, but
every James Gunn movie from now until forever. Viola Davis returns as playing.
She's
Amanda
amazing.
Waller.
Fuck, does she just deliver some, like, when she does some of those scenes when she's just like, and the delivery that she does, even with the look that she gives some of the characters, she presents herself so well. Really good as a
Viola Davis is absolutely
amazing,
phenomenal performer, and she's so perfectly cast as this. Nathan Fillion, we get to see Nathan Fillion as TDK, the detachable kid, who has a very funny and the thing is, the deaths and things, there's not that many deaths that are not hilarious in some way, and his death is hilarious because his skill is that he separates his arms. Which is great in that opening scene, Rick, where he's just slapping around. He's not doing anything, you know. So really funny. Jai Courtney returns as Captain Boomerang, who was one of my favourites in Suicide Squad. I really loved him as a character. And unfortunately, we don't see a lot of him.
No.
Flula Borg, if you know Flula Borg, if you've seen him on talk shows, they're very funny kind of comedian, German comedian.
Yep.
He plays Javelin in a very kind of unfunny role, really. His death wasn't so funny.
No.
Quite sad and poignant. And the list keeps growing here, guys, because they have such a massive cast. There's Mei Ling Ning as Mongol.
Pete Davis
as Blackguard. We've got Sean Gunn playing Weasel. Loved Weasel.
Weasel was
we
want to see a bit more of Weasel, but
And, that's most of your Suicide Squad, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
And then we go down to, obviously, King Shark and Sylvester Stallone doing the voice of that. So we'll just talk about the heroes at this stage. But that they are so wonderfully cast. And so strange. Oh, and the big one, and my favourite character in this movie, and I can't believe I didn't have it on my list in front of me, is David Duchovny. I don't know how to say his last name. Fantastic actor playing Polka Dot Man. Polka Dot Man is just so sweet and hilarious and tragic. Throughout this film is just absolutely wonderful. So that kind of rounds out generally. Oh, and the young lady who played Ratcatcher too, I'm missing out on her as well. She was wonderful too.
Yeah, and Taika makes a...
And Taika Waititi, of course, plays the original Ratcatcher in the movie as well. So if we've missed any... There's so many cast members. We've missed someone. Either way, this film opens up on a really great, I think, fun concept of we are in the middle of the mission.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of Predator a little bit when they're all in the chopper. Yeah. And they're kind of talking to each other and they have that banter.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a lot of fun, and then we get to establish just with one or two lines from each character.
Of the characters, You
kind of get to know who they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It worked. That's the beauty of this.
Yeah.
And you knew exactly, straight away, even with the first, the opening scene with Rooker, when he's going through, and you know exactly what the aim is. You put a bomb in there, his neck, and this, and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
it's set up so well.
They established the rules of this very, very well. And then we get straight into that mission, and it's just hilarious because they all jump out of this chopper, and that bit when Weasel just falls down. Weasel can't swim, and that's hilarious. Did anyone check whether Weasel can swim?
No.
And which is kind of fun.
So good.
But it quickly goes into that opening battle scene. It is basically a trap. They're betrayed by Blackguard. Basically, he told them where they were going to be. So they're faced with this army in front of them.
Huge, not like a massive army. Just thousands of them just surrounding them.
I mean, not all of, at this point, we don't know, not all of the Suicide Squad is there. No. But the majority are, including Harley Quinn, including Rick Flag. Captain Boomerang and all that, all there. But they just end up being in a trap. And what a huge, spectacular saying that is, as we get to see what we think are our heroes being taken out one by one.
And they got taken out graphically as well. Some of the scenes, and that was surprised me.
And this film is a brutally violent film.
Yeah, that surprised me, and it worked well. And it's so good they did it this way.
Yeah, there is one thing. If you are a bit sensitive to gore, this is not going to be your film.
Yeah.
He doesn't hold back.
No.
And I suppose that's one of the elements why this film is so refreshing, is the fact that we're getting to see just over-the-top violence in this, you know, which I'm surprised they, you know, let him do, and I'm thankful they have, because it just creates this macabre, fun energy about it, which is absolutely wonderful. But after that opening scene where we're getting, like, just everyone kind of wiped out.
Dies in a different, unique way.
Yeah, we're going to establish that there's a second team, and that introduces Bloodsport, King Shark, Polka Dot Man, Peacemaker, and Ratcatcher are part of that second team. And, you know, I don't want to go beat to the story.
No.
The adventure starts there, and it goes on a hell of a ride, you know?
And, like I said, the pace is really good with this.
Yeah.
It's just, it goes...
And it goes
on and on.
Yeah, you know, one of the little things I loved about it too? I love the title transitions.
Yeah.
So when they would establish what was happening, it was just very creative ways. They said 3 days later, or
8 minutes before.
This is now, and I just really kind of love that kind of stuff. And you know, it really does have that James Gunn feel of it, more so than Guardians did, more so than some of his other films. But I just really loved the fact that he had this comic book spirit. And if you want to know where it comes from, the comic book, you need to look up the 1970s run of Josh Ostrander, I believe. And you check out his run, it's very influenced by that. And but it was just wonderful. You know, I read some comments, and most of this film, Rick, the comments out there have been extremely positive. We're all on the same page. This movie's wonderful. It's a really enjoyable film. You've got to check it out. But I did read somebody saying that they wasn't enjoying it. They didn't get it. They didn't like it. And they said that, what was this James Gunn's wet dream? And I'll tell you what, it is. It is his wet dream. And I'm more than happy to sleep in the wet patch, to be honest with you, because this film just works so well for me, and deserves another watch, you know, because if you're a fan of like World War II adventure movies, team up movies, things like that, this is very much in the spirit of that.
I think what people probably will have an issue with is obviously the characters and what they look like. They look, you know what I mean? I think people, because they're not associated, like I said, these are characters that came from the 60s and the 70s, and he's taken those genuine characters, and the weird characters, these are weird characters. Because the villain himself, Starro, is a giant starfish.
Giant starfish with an eyeball in the middle of it.
And he is a legit DC villain. And yeah, people are probably not wondering, oh, it's a bit, but it is so good.
The way you do it, I mean, there's no doubt that you're looking at a giant starfish. Right? But the fact the way he makes that villain work is so great, and this film is very much.
Oh my god!
I'm so thankful we're in a time now with this genre where they are tending to go more accurate with their costume design.
Yeah.
You know, they're not afraid to do that, and they're finding that nice balance, which I just think adds to it. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to fault about this film. I don't think it ever gets to a point where it's slow and boring.
No.
We have those couple of scenes where you need the audience to take a breath. But besides that, it's moving at a pretty pace. And, you know, subverting expectations. This is a term that's been used to describe something negative in Hollywood. But this is an example where it can be used positively. Because in this film, there are many times where, like, the main villain, the general, that you think is going to survive the film, is killed halfway through by Harlequin.
That just surprises me.
So, you know, there are twists and turns and subversions of expectation throughout this film, which I just think it was nice and refreshing.
Yeah.
Overall, for me, this film, you know, if you want to get minuscule and start picking on tiny bits and pieces, I'm sure you could find something. Right?
Yeah.
But I didn't. I mean, I've seen this twice, and I just thoroughly enjoyed the energy of it. I think it also dances the line of not only being an exceptionally funny movie, Rick, but sometimes very emotionally tragic, sad. I mean, a lot of these characters are dealing with trauma.
Ratcatcher, she had
Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man is probably the biggest one who's dealing with very serious trauma. You know,
out with his mum.
Yeah, which is what a great way that he's burdened. One of the curses that he sees everyone as his mum.
So basically, his mum infected him with this virus and whatever.
Hates his mum.
He hates his mum. Doesn't want to kill anyone or anything, but he has to envision his mum to kill.
Which is that great scene at the end with Starro's going through the city, and then you see his perspective of her, and it's his mum, you know, 300 feet tall, smashing through the city. It was just great. Had a lot of energy. What about you, Rick? Is there any major highlights of the film you want to point out?
Oh, look, you know, a movie is to make you enjoy. You know, you want to enjoy yourself when you're going into it.
I know what you're trying to say.
This movie made me enjoy myself. I laughed through this movie. I just enjoyed every bit of it. I thought probably maybe it was a little bit long, right? And then I thought, when I left, I thought maybe it's a little bit long. I watched it again. Perfect. I thought, no. I thought you could cut a few scenes out of it, but then I realised, I looked at it and went, you know what? It worked. The whole, over the 2 hours, 2 hours 12, what it was great.
Well, I thought it was very tightly done.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's just when you think, oh, we're going to get a bit slow, it just
picks up again and keeps you involved.
You know, and one thing I really appreciate this movie too, I'm going to be contradictory here, but hear me out. As a film, it's great to see a closed film, meaning it's not open to a sequel or anything like that. No. It's its own story, and that is that. The contradictory part is, however, it does an after-credit scene lead into the Peacemaker HBO Max TV series, which is a different beast. But I thought, well, great, because, you know, let's face it, Peacemaker is not a good... No, none of them are good guys, but he's especially douchey in this film. Yeah. So it's so interesting that they're going with him as the guy to carry out a HBO series.
So many other characters, but we didn't get to explore a lot of them because a lot of them died within the first, you know.
Well, that's the fun of it, you know. They established this giant squad and
they will die.
They'll die, which is that not really a true reflection of what this comic book series is? It is called the Suicide Squad, alluding that most people don't make it out alive. And James Gunn's done that, you know, to perfection, honestly, throughout. Oh,
and a big standout for me was little Sebastian. I thought he was cool.
The little rat.
And he does this little. And Idris' character, Bloodsport, has this fear of rats, which comes out and he plays on it. It's so good.
But that's not just done for a gag sake. No. That's a plot-driven point. Because her ability to control rats, and we're talking Ratcatcher 2 here, pays off huge at the end.
At the end,
It really does.
Did not see that coming at all.
And a great example of really tight screenwriting and storytelling is that a lot of things that you think are throwaway gags in this movie early on pay off in the end. So there's no fluff. It's very tight movie. And James Gunn's done such a great job. And I can understand why he's recently made comments where he's saying after Guardians he's done with Marvel, but he's keen to go back and do DC.
He will.
And it's because of the freedom that the Warner Brothers gave him, and then they now have, because what Joker did as a film was do the thing that I've been crying out for years, especially on this channel, is that DC focus on individual stories rather than an MCU. So, as much as we love the MCU, and we're into all that, and we continue to enjoy it, you know, that is a sandbox that has boundaries. But currently at Warner Brothers, guys who are making DC films can kind of make the film that they want to make, which was...
and it reflected well with this.
This is a great film. Like 4 out of... You know, I said 4 out of 5 cassettes, but it really could have been a 4.5. It was that much fun. It is the most refreshing comic book movie I've seen in a while. Probably since Joker, I would say, just being so different than everything else, and I'm so thankful for that. I hope this movie makes a buttload of money.
I think it will. I think it is released just in the cinemas, I believe. It's not released on any other
streaming. Not here in Australia, but obviously in America it's HBO Max. Same day as coming out in theatres. So
right here in Australia at cinemas. So.
It's cinemas now, and we'll get that in a few months' time. But if you haven't seen it,
go see it.
You've got to go check it out. It's a movie that deserves to be watched a couple of times. It really is a fun time, and yeah, like I said, you're not going to win probably people who are a bit over the comic book movies or are not enjoying it. But those fans, yeah, I think.
So if you're a DC fan, you'll
you're really kind of love it. But you know what? I actually, now I'm thinking about that, I could see the, 18 to 25 males probably who not really normally would probably enjoy this due to the violence. And
I think this is what makes that movie as well. It's violent, which is good. The violent death scenes in it.
Yeah.
I love it.
There's just ultra violence in there, and it's not played for realism. I mean,
no,
but it's just I don't know. It's you're on a winner when you're laughing at people's heads blowing off and things like that. You're doing something right tonally anyway. But that's it. That was my opinion on the film. I don't want to go into every bit of spoiler and go into every bit of plot point. It is a movie you're going to go out and enjoy. But we dug it. We loved it. 4 out of 5 for both of us. I'd love to, guys, kind of want to hear what your feedback was on this film. I mean, what did you think? Were you shocked? Were you surprised? Did it exceed expectations or just not quite do it for you? And we want to know that. And Rick, how do they let us know?
Guys, all you need to do is give us a comment down below for the video. Also give us one of these a thumbs up. We'd really, really appreciate it. Also hit that notification bell, hit that subscribe button, and just follow us all on our social media sites. Easy and simple as that, guys.
Great, guys. No worries. And just before soon, we're going to be releasing some new merch on our store soon. As you can see, we've got a new Pop Culture Spread logo. We've got hoodies, we've got t-shirts. We're going to have a whole heap of stuff to try to sell to you guys. So keep an eye out for that, and we will catch you next time.
See you guys.
See ya.